Whoa. Oh, hello. Hi, there we are. And it looks like all of the elements of the stream are here and present and working on first
That's
go.
incredible.
First
Nice.
first go is
Hell
pretty
yeah.
incredible for me. Um, I'm so jazzed. Thank you to everyone who's joined us so far. A big thank you also to Juliana Finch Music for rating us at the very first 30 seconds of the stream. Appreciate you very much. I hope you had a great time playing music tonight. Um, and I hope everybody that is joining us from Juliana Finch will stick around. If not, I know that you've just been in a stream, so I totally understand. Go and get your stretches in. For what this is my channel. I am Super Dylan or Dylan, and I use she, he, and they pronouns. Correction, I don't use them. You use them when you talk about me. Um, and uh, um, I we are gonna be playing a game that I most recently wrote. I am a game designer and RPG actual play performer, and this is one of my games that we are about to play. It is called How Does That Work? You're a Bicycle. The game is a I know, Daniel, I'm just as shocked as you are. Everything looking good. The game is up on my itch right now, superdylan.itch.io. It is a narrative two-person RPG wherein there are two players or one GM and one player. If we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of it, the GM plays the author of a story and the player is the protagonist in that story. And the rough so-called plot of this game is that the protagonist and the author get to argue about the protagonist's fate in the story. I'm very excited about this game. If you would like to get it, there should still be community copies up, but I would appreciate it if you bought it. It would do me lots and lots of cool favors. Thank you, Daniel, for posting the link to it. And we're going to walk you through this game. It uses just a deck of cards and your imagination. And I will be playing. So tonight, in this iteration of the game, I will be playing Althea T. Frank, who is our author tonight. She is a author of a very beloved sci-fi a dystopian series, who is now trying to extend that series by writing a prequel about the series' central villain, a terrifying person you'll learn more about in just a second. And Althea is really trying to make sure that the how do you pronounce Frank? Who's your kid? How do you pronounce I'm gonna kill you? How do you pronounce you're dead? I
Frank.
I will absolutely get you.
Frank.
So so Althea is trying to reclaim this series, extend its life, and bring value back to her. And I'm very excited for you to meet her. And that is me, but I am joined by my lovely, wonderful, talented friend, multifaceted, talented friend, Nalawu. Could you please tell everybody here how amazing you are?
Hi everyone. Thank you for the introduction. That's very nice. Yes, I am Nala or Jay. My pronouns are they them, and I am on Twitter at nalawu and at naladraws if you'd like to see my artwork. I helped design this overlay and I did the character art, which is I believe this way.
Correct. Yeah. You
Oh,
got it.
look at me!
You
Look
nailed
at us
it.
go! We're
on
killing it
fucking
today.
fire.
Yeah. hmm You ain't never seen a stream like this. No mistakes so far. Uh, character art here I did. Um, and tonight I am playing Lavina Antares, who is in the main series that our lovely author Althea has written. The main series called, scrolling down our document, Tessellate Zero. It's a main series books where Lavina is the series main antagonist, but in this game we are writing, or you, author, are writing a prequel called The Protostar, which is the backstory of Lavina. We absolutely, someone said it in chat, we absolutely are inspired by Suzanne Collins.
Oh,
and talking
100%.
about it
She came
in
up a
session
lot.
0. Yeah. So this fictional sci-fi dystopian series, we all should be thinking about Hunger Games level success. This author who wrote like this one thing and that's it, and is trying to make something else, and they're doing a backstory on the villain. So that is me. I am playing the villain, but before, in the before times, who knows how terrible Lavina is at this point in time. That's basically that's me. I'm super excited to play this game. It looks super cool, everybody, and I get to use my physical playing cards.
We're really excited about our playing cards tonight.
Dylan and I both realized that we both collect playing cards. So I'm using a deck called War in Heaven. And all of the cards aesthetics are about like angels and demons fighting, basically. So that's what I'm using.
Yeah, they're all beautiful. I'm breaking in a brand new deck. It's not that interesting, but it's one that it's pretty enough that I want to use it all the time. So I really want to like soften them up.
Right.
I have a texture thing about cards. I need them to be like soft, malleable little like flappy boys. So I I just need to handle them a lot.
Flappy boys?
Flappy boys, you know, you understand.
Do I?
I don't know. I hate so in this game there is a written preamble session to this game that is within, as you can imagine by all the things that we've just been saying. Nala and I did that part last night. So we have our preamble. We know who our characters are already, but you can just open the game and play from that part. But we're going to start with Act 1, the setup. Act 1, Scene 1. We will both draw our cards, not reveal them to each other at this point, because we're going to find out what's happening in the book, in the Protostar right now. Okay.
Pick a card. Okay.
The bridge to the deck was crowded. There were people desperate and clamoring to get on board what some were talking about would be the last flight out, the last one to leave and get to the final destination, this terraformed planet that would save us all. But not really. Only some of us would make it. The bridge was crowded and loud, full of tears and people scrambling to get ahead. You're not alone. Who's with you?
I think I am here with I believe I am coming here because I am employed with someone who is much more important than me. And they have the connections, they have the money, they have the means, and I am here because I serve them. I think I was allowed to bring one other person, and the assumption is that after we get settled, that the rest of my family and my friends and the other people in my life that I care about will be able to come with me and follow me to this new place, our salvation. And I think the person that I chose to bring with me is, I think it was going to be my mother, but I think she has fallen ill and is currently, I think, in a hospital and was not able to make this flight. So I think instead of my mother, I have brought, let's say, my brother. I think I've brought one of my brothers.
Okay.
I think Lavina has a large family.
Absolutely. This is pointed, but does Jax sound right for your brother's name?
Sure, my brother can be named Jax.
Okay. I really liked that name. I wanted to.
I really like that name
wanted
too.
to squeeze it in here somehow. Jax turns to you as you are sort of making your way through the crowd, like tugs on your hand to like grab your attention. Are you sure that this is the way through?
I'm sure. Just trust me. And I grab his hand and I'm going to keep on pulling him through the crowd. I imagine the person that I work for is someone who is like tall, imposing, that sort of like stereotype of a person. Do you think like government official, celebrity? Who do I work for?
Who you work for? As we get closer and see the edge of the holodeck in the distance, you see just the top of their head, the big embellished collared shirt that extends out in that stiff starched white collar, almost like the Queen of Hearts would have. Is your superior, your boss, who you have managed to cozy up to in enough of a way that you are a person to them. They know your name even. And they do public relations for the onboarding of the Terraform project. They are a exceptionally big person in intergalactic politics right now, and one that is not without so much controversy, given how uncertain the flow of people into this new safe home has been.
What's their name, Dylan?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
That's a great question. I think that their name is Joran.
Which
do you want to know how it's spelled?
Chat. Yeah. How is that phonetically spelled, Dylan?
It's spelled J-O. Yeah, J-O. H-R-A-N. and there's a silent J at the end for symmetry.
I wish our document on your screen had been scrolled down so that they could watch me type that in.
There it is.
Wait, it's pronounced what?
Joran.
Joran. Okay.
Yeah.
Joran, is that his first name or his last name?
It is his last name. It's a Brandy sort of situation. It's a one name. We have a
so
one.
He just
name.
goes by. Okay. You thought we were gonna get a dramatic, sci-fi dystopian game? No,
No. I mean, we may.
We will.
Maybe. But, however, on the way, we're going to have the worst spellings of names ever. Joran peers over the crowd, scans for anybody of importance. You can see him sort of occasionally wave a person through. Armored guards come and bring that person through the rough of the crowd to the front whenever that does occur. He hasn't laid eyes on you quite yet, because you're not quite close enough yet.
Yeah, and so I think as Lavina is pulling their brother through this crowd, with their other hand, she is waving to try to get his attention and is calling out his name, betwixt a like, "Sir, Joran." It's me, like basically trying to get his attention over all of the clamor of this room, and I don't think Lavina is super tall. I think Lavina is like average height, like maybe like,
yeah,
I don't know, 5'6", like average height, maybe 5'7".
So funny to me because, just to derail you one more time, but it's so funny to me because people always are like, they're not tall, very, very short person, and then they'll say a height that is several inches taller than both of us.
Yeah.
Like, so not tall, the not tallest person.
Yeah. Not super tall.
No, not super tall.
Well, because Lavina could be like your author Althea could have written the series' villain to be a 6'2" imposing commanding woman, right? So she's not super tall.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to get across here.
No, I love it. I love it, and I agree.
Average.
Althea definitely would write a short villain, or short-ish villain.
Short-ish. I wouldn't even call 5'6" short. Average height. Me and you were both what, 5 feet tall? Like
5 flat, yeah. 5.
Yep.
That's good. A good 5 even.
Mm-hmm. But yes, I'm trying to get his attention.
In the crowd, the first person who actually catches you trying to get the attention is one of the guards. I mean, in a full kind of skin tight armor and a sort of floating mask around their face with a blacked out screen, so you cannot see the face underneath it. But you hear them say, "We got a lot of people to go through. You're gonna wait just like everybody else."
I know, sir. But that's my boss. I need to get to him. He knows I'm coming.
The face goes blank and silent for a moment. You don't hear it, but you know that they have the ability to mute themselves in these masks and have private conversations. After a long and awkward moment of silence as the crowd continues to push you both forward, Jack's along with you, the kind of intercom that they use clicks back on again, and you hear, "So you are. All right. We'll move you up. He's with you."
Thank you.
And he nods to Jax.
Yes, that's my brother.
Jax, as the guard starts to push you forward, Jax leans into your ear and is like, did not think that was going to work for a second.
And Lavina turns back around and gives him a facial expression of like, why wouldn't that work? I told you it was gonna work. Kind of like I told you so, in that sort of like sibling kind of like, you doubted me? Why would you doubt me?
You you get pushed up to the front, and then Joran does see you, and the face goes from the sort of cold and stern to Lavina. There you are. And who's this?
My brother, Jax. Jax, this is my boss, Joran.
Oh, we did say you could bring someone. We did. Yes, that's
Yes.
right.
Sir, that is correct, yes.
Perfect. We're gonna have to get you to work pretty quickly, though. So if you could just wait on the other side here, go on through.
Yes, of course.
And
yes.
shuffles you through the sort of closing, doors that are letting people in and then relocking as soon as they're through. When you get through to the other side, there's a lot of quiet. People are being placed, arranged in shuttles. There is a small but efficient looking med bay way down the hall. As Joran comes back through to the other side after several quiet moments, that's when you see, before you have a chance to acknowledge it, what could be here that is Lavina's biggest fear.
Ooh. I think her actual biggest fear right now not not being able to actually like make it onto this thing, right? That is her biggest fear. She already feels kind of that tension, having had to ask Joran, like, can I bring someone with me? Like, basically, can I get a +1 to this thing that is
can I
already
get a +1 to
exclusive?
survival? Yes.
Yeah, pretty much. Very nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Because I think Lavina and Joran have a very good relationship, or at least Lavina says all the right things, says all the things that he wants to hear, is basically the perfect assistant, and has shaped her entire life for the past, I don't know what, 2-3 years I've been working for this guy, around making sure that he views me favorably.
Yeah.
And I think he confides in me too.
Yeah.
I think that is, I hear a lot of things.
Yes. Yes.
But as far as what could be in, did you ask like in the ship or
I
in this
have
room?
an idea based on your answer.
Oh, yes.
So all of those reasons and more is why it is so surprising as you turn and leave and you see that Joran is coming back across the threshold of these lines. You see a sign tick on across the hall and down a ways past another gate that says final departure in progress. The last ship, the one that you thought you were supposed to be on, that you thought that this crowd was clamoring for, seems to have already taken off.
And I'm not on it.
And you're not on it.
Do I see Joran?
Joran has just stepped through the gates. Oh, good. You're here. Perfect.
Um, sir, what's going on?
Oh, well, we've shuttled on the last of the elite to go to, paradise. Um they're calling it, obviously. Um and we really need someone to stay behind here and help with crowd control. Apparently, a lot more people showed up than who we intended. Um, so, the space station has plenty of resources for you to make do with. There's food, water, and gestures to the sort of like half functioning med bay that is triaging the occasional injured person. So, as a team player, so glad that you'll be doing that, and I'm so glad you brought someone. I was so worried you'd be all alone, but you won't be.
And I think Lavina looks at her brother, brow furrowed, and then looks back at Joran and says, Um, pardon, you want me to stay here?
Oh, well, yes. Well, we do, of course, need somebody to manage the breakthrough. People will continue to come here, begging to be let up. And we just don't have the resources for that.
I, I see. I understand. I, I just thought that I would go with you to, you know, um, and like we as an audience see that Lavina's posture has lost some of its confidence, and she seems a bit unsure of what to do, and is calculating what possible angle she can try to get at to convince him to let her come with him, as was the original plan. And I think as she's kind of like babbling on, um, the angle they decide to go with is the like, I've been your assistant for so long, I know everything, I can cater to your needs, and I would be best able to serve you, and to do that I need to be with you where you go, is Lavina's argument.
Your brother, Jax, squeezes that hand that you were using to lead him earlier tighter still as the conversation and that argument goes on. Um, Joran places a gentle hand on your shoulder. It is gentle, but it is condescending as he says, I appreciate your input. We'll take that into consideration. For now, I believe there's quarters for you. And he begins to step away. That is where the chapter ends. And scene 2 begins. Scene 2 takes place not remotely anywhere in space. Scene 2 begins in a kind of disheveled room. There are manuscripts laid out, some of them literally torn apart and placed into what looks to be a storyboard and map strewn across this office floor on top of this patterned carpet. A woman with her curled hair pulled back into a messy ponytail with her eyeglasses shoved up into it and a loose uh, and kind of knit cardigan is huddled over this story and has fallen asleep on top of the pages that she was just making notations on. Nala, how do you break through? How do you break through and talk to this person?
In your dreams. So, as Althea falls asleep, I want to ask you what what dreams come to her initially. What do you think she's dreaming of?
Initially, she's dreaming over and over the last scene she wrote in different iterations, basically still writing in her sleep, hearing like different ways that the dialogue could go. Maybe her brother gets angry and steps in. Maybe there should be a fight. Maybe he should fire her on the spot. Maybe that's how that should go. And she's running through in her dreams, just reimagining that last interaction between Joran, Jax, and Lavina as you do what?
Yeah, so I think as the scene plays out in her mind again and again and again, at some point it freezes. And I think in her dream, she now sees in this room herself sitting at the desk in the room that Lavina has been given. And she sees herself asleep on Lavina's desk. And standing next to her while asleep is Lavina. And I feel like the edges of this scene are dark and scrumbled around as if there is a vignette around it. And you see yourself asleep, and Lavina reaches out to tap your shoulder gently, at which point you're jolted back into your body within the dream, and you wake up and you see your character just standing over you.
Oh, I have got to stop doing that.
I'm sorry. This is my room that I was just assigned. Who are you?
What? I'm sorry.
Yeah, the 206C. I think that's me.
She rolls up her sleeve, takes out a watch, starts taking her pulse. No, I'm not dead. Okay.
I sure hope you aren't.
You can't be here. I'm sorry. You can't be here. You can't.
And Lavina literally walks back out to double check what room this is, and then shows you the futuristic room key that has the same number on it.
Yeah.
What do you mean I can't be here? I'm maybe I misunderstood. Are we supposed to room together?
She looks at you like for an impossible second with incredulity. Lavina Antares?
Yeah. How do you know my name?
Oh. Well, I guess must still be dreaming. How do I know your name? Oh, well, how do I know your name? I think about your name, I don't know, 7,000 times a day. I think about everything you've ever done so much that it's affecting my ability to sleep. You are an enigma to me. I have no idea how to make this work. And of course, here you are. You know what? maybe you can tell me what's going on.
Are you one of Joran's coworkers? Are I sorry, I don't know who you are.
Me? Oh, me. I'm this person, and she picks up a book that's been like folded open and slaps it closed. It is one of the other books in the series. She holds it up to you, and it's been fully illustrated. It is your likeness on the cover with a sort of with the position of a very futuristic looking dartboard behind it, and an arrow stuck in your heart. And this is the I'm gonna say like fifth book in the series that she holds up, and she isn't showing it to you to show you this picture of you. She shows it to you and points to the name in the corner that says Althea T. Frank in bold block letters. Says, that's me. Oh, and I guess that's you. Yeah. That is you. That's how I picture you. The artist on this didn't really get quite what I felt, but you look more, this is more like what I imagine.
And Lavina takes a step back and is trying to like possibly process what is happening right now, and she kind of like cocks her head at you. Okay. Who?
Althea T. Frank.
I'm sorry, I've not heard the name. Am I supposed to know you? Did I miss? And Lavina goes to the bed where like my stuff has been like just thrown onto the bed, and pulls out like a data pad or something, what I use to take all my notes from my boss, and I'm opening up like a database of all these names, people that I am supposed to know who they are, and I'm like searching through it, and my facial expression is one of embarrassment. I think Lavina still thinks you are someone that is really important, that I'm supposed to know, and I don't know who you are.
Yeah. Well, you won't find me in that thing. I should have written myself in some way. That would have been nice. Kitschy, maybe. But nice. I could have done that. But no, you won't find me in that thing. I wrote the story.
What story?
Tessellate Zero. Your story. Lavina Antares. I made you up.
Tessellate Zero is the name that, well, it hasn't been announced yet, but that's what the planet's going to be called.
Yeah. So I wrote the story, made it all up.
Okay, sure. Okay. Lavina crosses her arms. You wrote the story.
Yeah.
And she sits on the bed across from the desk and just looks at you. And her eyes are glittering with amusement. She thinks this is funny. And doesn't seem to believe you, but is playing along.
Yeah, and I'm stuck. I know I know where I need to get you, but I can't figure out exactly how. I want you to be likable, but you become supremely unlikable. And people are sticklers for continuity, so I don't know exactly how I'm doing this. So maybe that's why you're appearing to me now to sort of help me work through this. And I appreciate my brain for doing this to me, but yeah, I don't know. How do you feel about it? The whole thing where you learn that you're not actually going to be invited to go to Tessellate Zero.
Lavina's face changes from that like amused expression to um her eyes narrow a bit, and I think in the back of her mind she's thinking, like, if in the off chance this person, maybe I'm speaking to God, right? Like this person seems to know who I am, is speaking of words of grandeur, I'm gonna become something, someone someday. um you know, Lavina, I think, has assumed that she is also asleep and is also dreaming, and is just gonna play along. And she says, "What do you mean? What do I think of this situation? Is not at all what I was promised. So I am upset."
Ooh, upset. Would you say that you're like mad enough to like risk it all? Or just you're just like upset. You're just sad.
Lavina looks around the room, like as if like facial expression is like, am I being pranked? Like, what is happening? Um, is looking around for like hidden cameras or hidden microphones or something, and she says, I I'm just going to I he didn't listen, and perhaps my argument wasn't compelling enough. Mostly I'm upset I dragged my brother all the way out here, I guess. He should be behind to care for Mom.
Mm. Okay. All right. That's a good start. That makes
How?
sense. Well, so we really need to make you angry,
And
miserable, dejected enough to push you to who you become, you know? Um and I think this is a good
what,
start.
what do you mean who I become? What do you mean? How do you know so much about me?
Book still in hand, she holds it back up. Who you become? That? Again, I made it up. So, we're gonna have to. I'm thinking they leave you here. I'm thinking Joran leaves also and gets on a shuttle and just leaves you here unattended. I think that's good. It can leave a lot of room for you to manipulate the situation around you, to find ways to survive without oversight. But also, it'll sting, you know, because Joran's just gonna finally leave you here.
That what do you mean good? That's not good. That's terrible.
Well, it's good for the story. I know it's not good for you. That's the whole point. It can't be good for you. You have to have a reason to become the way you do so that everybody doesn't hate me anymore.
Why do they hate you? And you see Lavina's posture change, and this is what she does. Like
Yeah.
she's now trying to get you to talk,
Yeah.
and she sort of leans forward and says, why do they hate you?
Well, hate's strong. I mean, they still like me. They're still making, the movies still sell. But they don't like that the major villain, the only villain, is also like the only really like strong woman I put in the game into the story.
Villain.
I was young when I wrote it. I didn't, and I was too afraid that they would know if I wrote it they wouldn't be interested, and I was just trying to
Wait, villain?
oh yeah, best villain, so diabolical. Everybody hates Lavina Antares. There are and she just like she even like pulls out a phone and like opens up Tumblr and searches Lavina Antares.
Yeah, what comes up when you search Lavina on Tumblr?
And shows you like fan art of like people's OCs killing Lavina themselves. Like there's like fan fiction where there's a couple of things where it's like some twink saves Lavina Antares and like, you know, she never becomes evil. But like for the most part, it's a lot of people hating on her. There's like, you know, there's even like real political posts that use Lavina as an allegory to like a real life political figure, and are like, we can't allow this to happen. Like, you know, what would the saviors of the Desolate do? Like, there's all that energy and more, but it is all focused around Lavina Antares is the allegory for the worst,
like evil,
evil.
And Lavina like watches as you're scrolling through this phone, and I think it's like the combination of like the fan art, whatever actress portrayed me in the films, and I don't know, like maybe there's like one fan cam thing of clips from the movie of Lavina being like a badass, and like it's set to like some really emo like sad song. And Lavina is looking at these images and it just seems really confused. And because I also think the Lavina in the books looks different from me. She's older. I think Althea has given her like a streak of white, like that sort of like sexy, like the graying hair,
100%.
And I think while Lavina now is wearing slightly more like athletic leaning clothes, like business casual with like a sort of like athletic side to it. The Lavina in all of these photos is wearing like really, really stiff like suit jackets, like really high severe collars, and like pretty much all black and white, like only dresses in black and white, and you know, has like rings on the fingers, and like really there's probably one of like her wearing like a metal like circlet-esque thing, but it's really like cyberpunk or like that very like futuristic kind of metallic design. And she says, "This isn't me. I'm sorry. I'm confused. I'm not a bad person." And it sounds like a question.
Oh, no, not yet. Yeah. But you're gonna be, and that's what this is about. I have to make people sympathetic to you and understand why you become evil. You definitely become evil because that's already happened in like the future. You're not evil yet. But you will be, and I need them to understand why, and it needs to be convincing. And so far, being abandoned on a space station is good, but it's not drive someone to be pure evil good, you know? It's missing something.
Why do I need to be evil? Why can't I be good?
Because I already wrote the end part. This is a prequel. So I'm writing your origin story now, but I already released the other books.
And you didn't think about how you would get there?
Okay, I see what's going on. I am judging myself again. And yes, I didn't think about it all the way through. I just dropped you in the story as this villain character because I thought you were so cool. I thought you were very badass, and I thought it would be cool to see, a woman be the most powerful villain in the world. And I didn't realize that would upset some people, and I get it, but I want to make it worth it. I want to make them see that you had depth to you,
Well, I do have depth to me.
Oh, totally. Totally you do.
How? Okay. How can I help you? Can I help you?
Yeah. So
If I help you, will you leave my room?
oh, this is my room. But I will you'll your room. Oh, maybe I should make the room really trashy. Like it's like you get assigned to like basically like storage quarters. That's still not that bad.
I would not like that.
Yes. Well, there is the matter of your brother too.
What about him?
Well, he doesn't really belong. They didn't really expect him. They weren't actually going to let the two of you go. They could separate the two of you. What do you think should happen?
What do I think should happen?
Mm-hmm.
I think I should be going to Tesla Zero with all those other people, like Joran said that I would.
Yeah, but they left already. That part, I'm not.
Okay, if you are the writer, can't you go back to when before this and have me go with them? Like I sound ridiculous right now.
I think this would be a good time to reveal our cards to each other.
Okay.
And see what we've got.
Okay. Ace of clubs. I have 8 of spades.
8 of spades. So they do not match in any way, which means we are going to move forward.
Okay.
With the author's original plan, no changes.
Okay.
No, separating you from your brother is not. That's too much too soon. Plus, I want you to. He humanizes you. I want you to have that for as long as we can. But I'm sorry. The ship's already left. I wrote that part already, and I'm happy with it. I think it's okay.
Althea?
Yeah.
That's your name.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You claim to care about me, and yet you want me to suffer so that I can become that? And I gesture to whatever your phone is open on, like some fan art of me doing whatever. Killing someone. I don't know.
Yes. Yes, of course. I love you. You are one of the most important characters I've ever written. I think you're more important than most of the heroes I've ever written. But that's all the more reason why your story has to be compelling, has to be good. It has to give you the backstory you deserve.
Okay. Okay, I'll play along here. Do you want to ask me anything?
Yeah. If you Do you think Lavina knows how to fly a ship?
Do I know how to fly a ship?
Yeah, would you know how to fly a ship, do you think?
Well, I've never been formally trained, but I'm sure I could figure it out.
God, that's exactly what you would say. Yeah. And Althea wakes up to return to her work,
Mm-hmm.
and you return to the space station, opening your door that you thought was your room a
Is
moment
it
ago.
206C?
It's 206C
Okay.
is your room. You open it up. It is not at all the middle-aged woman's library office with the books strewn apart. It is a fairly clean a pod of a room. It's a little sterile in here, a little bit of the white walls and plain. There's not a lot of decor or any decor really in here. But there are two beds with a little separator that like draws down the line. There's a little bit of a wash station. There's a computer on the wall that is there to sort of communicate with like the central parts of the space station, and make any requests you may have. But otherwise, it's pretty plain, and you and Jax have been assigned here.
Mm-hmm. I think I walk in first. And I have memories of the conversation I just had.
You do, absolutely.
Okay. I walk in here. Jack's following me. I close the door. And I turn around to face my brother and I say, I must have been daydreaming. That was so strange. And I reach out for him and just make sure that he's real.
Yeah. He also grabs your arm back and says, yeah, I guess, hey, look, just because they change their minds doesn't mean we're not going to get through this. I'm here. It's not like I'm going back. So, and look, maybe these people need help. So maybe it's for the best. Maybe we can get word back to Mom. It'll be okay.
Can figure out who's working the comms relay. Get a message out. And like I think Lavina automatically just goes to take one of the beds, puts her stuff down, and is muttering under her breath, basically plotting, trying to figure out, and is verbalizing plans to try to figure out how to get in with someone who's working comms on this space station.
Mm-hmm.
Just to send a message home. And I think at this point, Lavina's plan is to tell her mom that she made it to the place. I don't think she wants her mom to worry. So Lavina's plan right now is to lie.
Great. Your lie is projected to reach back home in about a week's time as you send it. Do you say that just you made it? You say that you and Jax have made it, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I say we both made it. We're settling in.
Yeah.
We're going to be very busy, new adventure and all that, but we made it. And I just wanted to let you know, hope you're recovering, like that whole sort of spiel. I also think it's very funny that there's a montage here of Lavina unpacking, and Lavina packed very practical things, but I think it'd be funny if, based on that other conversation, you have Lavina, like you've written Lavina pulling out like random mementos and stuff that like decoration and
yeah, exactly. There's like photos from home and everything
of my big family and
yes,
some friends. I think specifically there is a photo of Lavina and another young woman who I think maybe it's a school photo of the two of us together.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks very well off. I think we went to school together, but she was part of the wealthier upper class. And after we finished out the equivalent of high school, um, she was ushered on upwards to whatever her calling is and kind of left Lavina behind, I think, is what happened with this person. And but I have a photo of the two of us, and I think I put that up as in around all the other stuff that Lavina has to decorate.
The room becomes less sterile. It is more now that there is a coating of familiarity over the sterile environment. You can still see the cold steel underneath these soft memories that you've adorned the walls and side tables with. It is a small comfort, but it is a bandage over things. I know this is an awkward story point, but I think I would like to take a break here unless you have any objections. I think I want to take our 10 and come back after this moment where we just leave you, Lavina, kind of soaking up the memories that you've just hung up in this room.
We're walking down memory lane.
You're walking down memory lane.
The fans will love this one.
Somewhere in an apartment, Althea is like, yeah, nailed that one, absolutely. And we're gonna take a little break, 10 minutes, go stretch, grab some water, grab something to eat, and we will see you in just a few moments. Bye.
Bye.
you
Thank you for
had.
waiting.
I thank you so much, and I hope you got a stretch in. Um, we left our anti-hero, our protag.
Anti-hero? What do you mean? What do you mean? I'm your protagonist. I'm not evil.
No, not at all. In their new room, her new space, where she had placed whatever memories she could to make this place feel at least a little bit at home to them. Their brother on the other side of this divider, as they slept finally for this new stage in their adventure. Over the next few weeks, aboard the ship, some things become clear. It becomes clear to Lavina that no new plans for new shuttles are being planned at this time. Mostly people show up. They are put through a laborious waiting process, a screening. Several messages are sent back and forth, at which time they are under the care of the people who work with. Among them, Lavina now finds herself. But they never get approved. They very often, almost always, get sent back. There have been, in the last couple of weeks, maybe 2 that you've seen get shuttled through. They're barely there long enough for you to even meet, because they come with such entourage, such predestined time, and their request gets put through almost immediately. But that's it. For these last couple of weeks, what has Lavina found herself doing aboard this ship?
Lavina's been busy. And not in the cool, fun, sexy way. Lavina has been very busy getting to know all of the people on the ship who she thinks could be of use to her. And what I mean by that is she is getting to know anyone who has any semblance of power on this station. So whoever the administration team is, whoever the comms people were probably the first people that she kind of cozied up to, doing them, just like trying to be useful, because like Lavina is an EA, is an executive assistant. That's what she does. That's what she's good at. And she, over the next couple weeks, has, because she's good at her job, has basically gotten a finger on the pulse of this station, where she knows who all the power players are, knows sort of generally like what their needs are, and she's identifying the people that she can talk to who might be able to give her what she wants. And at this point, she is still trying to get to where Joran is. And I think also this whole time, Joran has still been trying to get her to handle all of the stuff that she previously handled for him. And I think she's kind of been like tugging on him a little, in the sense where I think she's very smart about this, but she kind of does little things where she's like, you know, it'd be easier if I was there with you, Joran. Like, sir, like, I want to help you, but you know, they're really putting me to work at this station, which is not a lie, because she has been keeping very busy. But it's essentially like she's picked up all of these other superiors and people that she can help and serve, organize their lives, and help make the station run. Lavina's goal over the past couple weeks has been to make herself as useful as possible, so that all of these people in charge look upon her favorably, and perhaps they might start telling her things. And the other thing that has sort of percolated over her mind over the last couple weeks has been this feeling that she can't shake from that conversation with this mysterious person that seemed to know everything about her, who seemed to think that she was destined to become something great, something bigger than who she is now. And I think that thought and that feeling has sort of shadowed over her waking moments this entire time. She's thinking like, I don't, like, that was just a dream. I don't know what that was, but maybe that was a message. Maybe I am destined for something great, because I don't want to keep doing what I'm doing for the rest of my life. Like, I want to get to the Tessellate Zero and be with my family and live the rest of my life out in peace. And I think Lavina's feeling frustrated at the life that she has been given, in that she was not born into wealth and all of those things. But I think spite is a great motivator, and this has kept her going this whole time.
You've done well for yourself, Lavina. You are well known and well respected, even after just a few short weeks aboard the station. There are most people who are stationed here do know your name, respect your entry into any point in time. You can get things relatively easy, provided that they're here. And even sometimes when they're not, there's been maybe one or two times where a guard or a supply officer will make sure an item or two gets its way back from home planet or from Tessellate Zero. Just a comfort item or two, to make sure that you have what you need / want. They are doing things for you. There is one person who has been just outside your reach, who was essentially a second in command to Joran before Joran left and took his place comfortably in Paradise. This person was Joran's second in command, is now in charge, quote unquote. But they kind of keep to themselves, don't seem to really have a commanding presence, but occasionally come out and deliver news. And the news they always deliver has been news that has been bestowed upon them from the Tessellate Zero. It is not their decision, but they're here to let you all know. This person's name is Michael. And would you like to know how Michael is spelled?
I fear. How? All right. Let's make some room. How do you spell Michael?
It is Miy Khaile. Michael. Thank you.
This is why Lavinia becomes
a villain. It's because
a
everyone's names
everyone
are
on the
spelled...
space station's name is fucked up and weird. That's why.
That's why.
Michael. Oh my god, there's a suggestion for how to spell this correctly. It's so funny.
I bet.
So who's this guy? I was caught up in the
Michael
atrocity of
is
the spelling.
Michael is effectively left in charge of the space station. He was Joran's second in command and is technically second in command of the Tesla Zero project, but was left behind for an indefinite amount of time to make sure that the space station is running smoothly before he can be brought over. It is known that eventually he will be brought over. That is something that is oft talked about, and it seems to be general knowledge is that he will go once the space station is proven to run on its own.
Mm-hmm. I see. Okay. And he's been kind of like private, is what you were saying?
Kind
like
of
not...
private. He shows up every now and then. He makes a announcement, does the occasional morale boost.
Like a pizza party?
Pizza
equivalent,
party,
but like sci-fi
yeah.
and cool.
There's freeze-dried ice cream in the lounge for anyone who wants any.
Wow. Luxury. We're living in a lap of luxury.
But he ultimately doesn't stay too involved, and it isn't until this day, when you are just going about your business, you are schmoozing with all of the people that you usually schmooze with. A couple of people hand you things, some earthside treats, or some
guacamole.
Yeah,
I think Lavina is really obsessed with a good guacamole, and I think they've been sourcing like real avocados versus the synthetic machine created food.
yeah.
Real avocados.
Which those are all imported for you from Tesla Zero when you get them, because
so nice.
Because of course Old Earth does not make them anymore. But you do get them handed to you every now and again. Today is no different. Someone passes one to you and just smiles and nods very happily as you go by. Today, Michael is out on the deck and says very sternly that we're going to be restricting visitation to the station. It's a decree from Tesla Zero. I'm sorry, but it is going to make all of your lives so much easier, as we're not going to be dealing with as much throughput as we've been dealing with. And this should really slow down production and give you all a real break, I think. And of course, it means we're going to be processing less requests, but it's just because the success of the Tesla Zero needs to thrive even more than it already has been.
What is the crowd's reaction to this? Specifically, the other higher ups. How do they seem to be reacting to this?
The other higher ups are shifting anxiously. They still clap. They still nod, smile, but the energy in their step, the energy in their posture is tense. You catch them looking to the gate where that line of people still exists. Although the faces are different than the day you arrived here, the worry on their face, the desperation on their face through the small little windows where you can see them is still the same expression. And you can see that this desperation is feeding into the staff, maybe reflected in them as well, as they put on the face of acceptance and even joy in the face of leadership.
I think sensing the unease, Lavina kind of mentally notes that as something to pick at later. So that's what she's been doing this whole time, is just finding what people's wants and needs are, and if she can help fulfill that, she will fill it. If and if not, she will be there to listen and empathetically, so that people tell her things that she could use later. And at this point, it's not like a malicious thing. Like, Lavina is genuinely just trying to figure out and navigate socially / politically on this station. She's still angling to get up there. Like, that's all she wants. And I think Lavina is able to catch this guy, Michael, spelt horrendously.
Yes.
I think she wants to catch this guy as he's sort of walking away. I think she has found out what his favorite drink is, like what his drink of choice is.
Yeah. It's a Baja Blast, by the way. It's a Baja Blast, which you're able to get because.
Okay. Okay. You
have connections. You can get a Baja
I have
Blast.
connections. Sponsored by. No. Okay, so. Lavina walks up to him with the fucking Baja Blast, and Baja. How do you say it?
Baja Blast.
Oh, it is Baja. Okay.
It is Baja Blast.
Baja Blast. That mint green of ye old Earth times.
Yes. Correct.
And kind of just offers it to him, not as a like, here, I got this for you, but it's very like nonchalant, like slips it into his hand. Like it's the kind of like very casual movements where the other person would subconsciously just reach for it. Like, I'm handing you something and you go out and reach for it.
He takes it from your hands, walks even a few steps ahead of you, puts it to his mouth without thinking, sips it, and then stops, turns around. I'm sorry. I don't think we've officially had the pleasure.
Lavina Antares.
You can call me Michael. Lavina, you... Oh, you work for Joran. You
I do.
Yes. I'm actually sorry we haven't met before. You know, things are busy.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you are very busy. So don't worry about it at all. I have been very busy myself. This station is very busy.
You
A lot
must
going on.
be busy if you can get your hands on this. And the like slushy ice in the cup sound as he shakes it. Do you know, we're kind of in need of some extra help on something a little important. Would you be willing to maybe do a little extra work?
No, of course.
For the project?
However I can be of use and assistance, I would love to take something off your plate.
Do you have time? Why don't you join me now?
Yeah. And I think Lavina looks back to where her brother is waiting for her to like sit down and eat, and because they were gonna have meals together, and Lavina kind of just like waves at him to say like, I'm like basically, hey, I'm sorry, I have to go do this. I'll talk to you later, kind of
He
thing.
gives you a
Yeah,
usual and heads back to the room. You're
and I
brought
follow him.
you're
Yeah.
brought into Michael's office slash room. It's starkly different to the quarters you've been given. It is not necessarily that of a luxury home or apartment, but it is massive compared to the sterile, cold rooms that everyone else here is staying at. There is a wood coloration to everything. There is real furniture made of real metal and wood and material. The computer is not built into the wall. He has access to a real desktop, something that he can
Ooh,
actually customize, use.
that's so
Um,
nice.
the
The luxury.
Exactly. The bed that he has off into the corner is not a twin military style shaped bed. It is a real bed with a real mattress and quilts and all. And he has you sit down. He gestures for you to take a seat in a armed leather chair, and he sits in the one opposite of it, offers you something to drink. There is a bar cart with, corked seltzer, wine, things that you haven't seen in the last couple of weeks.
Lavina will take a glass of red wine.
He
Which I
pours it.
think for the book fans, I think later on becomes Lavina's drink of choice. She's
Yes,
always sipping
she's
wine in the
always
book.
got a, and he pours it in a comically large wine glass, one with
Of
a
course.
heavy base that's bottom is bigger than Lavina's hand. As he fills it and hands it to her and sits down across and says, I haven't been so great with the people here. If I don't know if you've noticed, it's not really my specialty.
I don't know what you're talking about. I think you've been doing quite fine.
You're you're really too kind, but I don't know how to manage a crowd. I thought I was going ahead earlier than apparently I am. But truth be told, they didn't think there was anyone else here they could trust to keep things in line. And I I do think that I have done that. But now it's going to be a little bit more difficult. And I need someone with people skills. It seems like you have those. And I can see why. He sort of like tucks a wisp of hair back a little bit.
And Lavina smiles at him, and just kind of like brushes the compliment off, and says, "If let me know how I can help."
Well, that's easy. So we've broken the news to the staff. I've done that, and I think I did okay. No one is banging down this door right this minute. But someone has to break it to the people who are waiting. And I know it's a hard ask. It's a big one. But if you're that good with people, if you're as good as they say, maybe I could make it worth your while.
You want me to break the news to the folks waiting in the holding room?
Exactly. I'll
Would
stand
they
there.
are would Lavina is like trying to think about how to phrase this. Are they being sent back to old Earth, or are they going to be allowed to stay here on the station?
They would have to be sent back to old Earth. We're full up here. We have maybe 1 or 2 rooms open, but not enough for all of them.
I see. And Lavina kind of is considering, and she says, "What, what are you offering?"
Well, well, you could be my second. You could work for me. And when my ticket comes through, we go on ahead together.
I think we can all see the thoughts and the calculations happening behind Lavina's eyes. Um, and and she nods and says, "Then we can make that happen because, frankly, you and I aren't all that different, I don't think."
Again, a sort of like shy smile creeps across his face. I'm I'm flattered to hear you say that, being as remarkable as you are.
Remarkable.
Yes.
What do you mean?
Well, the staff here don't like anyone in charge, and they like you.
Why?
I'm not quite sure. I guess if I knew, then I could have been more likable myself. But that's just not my strong suit. I was
We can work
born
on it.
into this, so maybe I will if we spend more time together.
And Lavina kind of tilts her head just a little bit and smiles at him and says, "Perhaps. We'll see what happens."
Let's finish your drink, then we'll go.
And Lavina looks at this like massive cup of wine.
He slurps a Baja Blast through a straw.
Smash cut to your author just giggling over this manuscript.
Like, no, this is
like
literature, she says
so
to herself.
I think she finds this so funny. And smash cut back, and Lavina will just take another sip, very polite sip, and says, "Well, if you'd like me to make this announcement, I don't think I should finish this, but later."
All right, later. He leads you out to the room. You two step through the sliding doors that lock behind you. Guards step to either side. He stands behind you and makes a gesture to everyone to look, but leaves the floor to you to speak. He stands behind you, though, with a vote of confidence.
We are now in front of the group of people.
Yes.
And Lavina takes a second to compose themselves, and they take a deep breath. Do I know who any of these people are? Like, these haven't been the people that I've been like trying to get friendly with, but like,
No.
are they just like random people or?
There might be because the old Earth is so big. There may be a face or two that maybe looks familiar, but by and large, this is going to be a group of strangers.
Okay, cool. Um, Lavina composes herself, and I think at this point in the book, in the main novels, like I think one of the biggest draws of Lavina as a person is that she is a very charismatic public speaker. And so in this scene, readers are going to see a younger Lavina still be able to hold command of this room, and she takes a deep breath and says, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lavina, Lavina Antares, and I have unfortunate news. I want to be direct with you all. I see no use in lies or white lies or even trying to pad this message to make it seem like it's something good when in reality it isn't. So I am deeply sorry and apologetic that this is the news that I am bringing you all. And she takes another deep breath. She says, unfortunately, due to shortages and overall needs of this station, we have been told by the Tesla Zero government that that they are stopping the acceptances of new immigration, and unfortunately they have stopped all of it. And she takes like a pause to sort of let that sink in.
The murmurs and they start to arise.
Yeah. And she says, I know it is very unfortunate. I know a lot of all of you, all of us, and gestures to everyone in this room. We have all been waiting for so long, and unfortunately at Tesla Zero, they have been working so hard to get the place ready for more people. But unfortunately this time they are stopping new immigration to let, well, as they say, let the technology catch up to the needs of the people. And unfortunately, that also means you all will have to return to Old Earth until the immigration is allowed to resume. This station, unfortunately, does not have space for anyone to stay farther than the people who already officially reside here. And I think like throughout this speech, it's very clear she's like picking and choosing these words, but the angle that she's decided to go with is, I am not going to lie to you. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I am being direct and honest, because you don't deserve anything less. You don't deserve someone trying to be smarmy or trying to like spin this. Like, that's her angle right now, is she's like, I am being direct and honest with you about what is happening, and there's nothing I can do to change it. I'm sorry, but aren't you glad at least that I am being direct and honest with you? That's sort of the angle she's going for here.
The crowd is murmuring and is reluctant, hesitant, but there is a general sense of understanding, maybe even an acceptance that they knew this might happen. They kind of had been waiting here a long time with no word. They do seem grateful that it was brought to them truthfully. And the guards begin to usher you and Michael back out, backwards through. Michael gives a wave, insists that you do as well. And the guards kind of shuffle you back. The doors slide open. You step through. And in the split moment where the doors are about to slide back shut again, you hear from far in the back at the very base of this long stretch where people have been waiting, you hear, Lavina, what the fuck? And you see Jax, your brother's head, just pop through the crowd as the doors seal shut. And the guards immediately start ushering people, your brother included, out and into their own shuttles back immediately.
Why was he there?
Your brother sometimes would go and, just give comfort to people, chat with people waiting, help buy the time, pass the time, play card games and such. Nothing big. Just figured he'd pass the time while you were in your meeting. But this time, the door's shut, and he starts to get shuffled along with them.
I think Lavina turns to Michael and says, excuse me, my brother's out there. He lives here.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lavina. That obviously misunderstanding. And he walks up and taps on the guards. They look. They do nothing. He shows a badge. They look. They push a button through an intercom. Sorry, this came from Tesla at 0. And they close intercom. He continues to bang on the door. He pulls out an intercom of his own out of his pocket, starts making demands. Nothing works. They move forward. They shuffle people out. They send them all home.
I think the next shot is Lavina back in her room, alone. Her brother's things still strewn about his bed. I don't think he was a very neat person.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this chapter of the book would end with her just staring at the space her brother used to occupy.
As the scene closes on that image of your brother's things left behind on a newly quiet space station, we go back to not the office this time. I think a coffee shop. The author of this series, Althea T. has decided to bring her work to a new location to get some new perspective.
And get out of the monotony.
Get out of the monotony.
Just get out of the monotony.
Yeah, gotta shake it up a little bit. So this time, it's a laptop. She's a little more presentable. Instead of the old ratty cardigan, she is in a less ratty, t-shirt and jeans, and has a pair of blue light filter sunglasses on as she stares at the scene, sipping what is probably her third or fourth cup of coffee. She types and types and begins to find herself in yet another pickle that she isn't sure how to work her way out of. How would you like to appear to her this time?
I think this is a little funky wonky, so stay with me here.
And then I already like it.
A little funky wonky. Also, check Zoom chat. But also, as I describe this. So, you're in this coffee shop, and I think there's lots of other like patrons sitting around also working. I feel like this is a new shop for you, but there's a lot of people who like are regulars and they come here often. Um and I think as you're working and you're just staring off into space, that 1,000 yard stare when you're just thinking, and I think your head does like that nod of like you're like falling asleep, but you're not, and you immediately pick your head up and you kind of shake it off like, oh god, I'm falling asleep. You down the rest of your coffee, you look around, um, and as you sort of look to your right, one of the other patrons at a table like just two tables over, um, looks very familiar. It is Lavina sitting in this coffee shop.
Mm.
And this time, her hair is like slicked back, and she is dressed a little more formally. Um, is definitely overdressed for this coffee shop. Um, does not look like any of the patrons around. Um,
Mm.
and she's there, legs politely crossed, at this table, and she's got some work in front of her, and she is sipping some coffee.
Althea takes a look at her quizzically. Sorry, do we know each other?
Um, and Lavina recognizes you from all those weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
and also just like takes a moment to like look around because she's kind of like, where am I? Like what is this? Um, and looks down at her work, and her work is still her work. I think she was
Mm-hmm.
working
Yeah.
at the like in the mess hall of this station. She was doing work in public, and she just kind of did the same thing. I think was like nodding off, and now is in this coffee shop. Um, Althea?
Yeah. Oh, so we do know each other. Yeah. Yeah. You look so familiar. I'm so sorry. I'm in the middle of a novel right now and I am uh, fried. So I apologize.
Lavina's face changes again, and it's clear that she's like, okay, this is weird. Like this is the same person who came to me in this sort of weird nebulous what have you previously. So like this is really strange. Um and Lavina kind of looks around and then looks back at you, and um gathers her data pad and her coffee and moves over to sit at your table with you, and puts her stuff down. And I think the data pad or whatever futuristic computer, she's got kind of like buzzes slightly,
Yeah.
and Lavina like quickly taps it and sends it to screensaver, um, and just looks across the table at you and says, "You're that same person from before, like a month ago."
A little bit of like pale comes across Althea. Oh no. Okay. Okay. So I must be asleep. She looks around the coffee shop to see people still gathering coffees and drinking them and chatting and vivid dream. But I must be dreaming again. Lavina, how are you doing? Uh how are you feeling?
Lavina scoffs at you, and she says, "Why don't you tell me if you're the one writing my story?"
Well, again, I feel like it's going well. But, is are you tortured enough? Are you ruthless enough? I mean, I think, I don't have any brothers. So I don't know. I don't know if this is enough to push someone, that far. But I think it's close, for sure. I think it has to be close.
This is absurd.
Well, what would you rather do? I thought about, killing your family, like all of them. But like that seemed a little bit too dramatic. I just wanted you, and also they're far away, so maybe it wouldn't have as much impact as seeing him there, and then seeing him get whisked away. The impact needed to be more visceral than like, getting sent a missive that your family died back home,
Lavina's face changes. I think it hardens slightly, a little cold, and there's kind of a slightly amused smirk on her face as she looks at you, her eyes studying you. And she says, "Yes, I think that would be very poor writing, would it not?"
Exactly. It would be. So this I think is a little better, and plus it gives you something to still care about in the world. Obviously, you'll never see them again.
What am I destined for, Althea?
Ultimate power, greatness. You're destined for the highest respects that this universe can offer.
Seems so unlikely.
Really? Have I not set you up to be that yet? I really do feel like you are on that trajectory. Everybody is enamored by you. And just wait. There's somebody who's going to be so enamored by you. And you're going to well, I don't know. I don't know how you'll feel. But it doesn't matter because everybody loves you, cares about you, and wants you to succeed. And that's going to be your in, right?
If everyone loves me, why is my job so hard?
Because everybody likes you, but everybody who likes you is also pretty evil.
And I think like Lavina is thinking about the fuck is his name? Joran.
Joran.
Thinking about Joran, thinking about this new guy Michael, all of these people who are, like that. They have power. They have control. People listen to them. And Lavina looks at you and she kind of tilts her head curiously and says, "Is it better to be liked, respected, listened to?" I'd rather people listen to me. They don't have to like me.
Oh.
I'd like them to like me. But hey, if people listened to what I said, I would be getting what I wanted. And that's not happening.
Huh. So that's how we're different. That's it. Because I want people to like me. But you want people to listen and care about what you have to say. So we have to find someone who cares about what you have to say. Have you ever thought about falling in love, Lavina?
Love? Not really, no. Why?
Maybe that's beautiful. Maybe the fact that you haven't thought about it is why it's so special when it happens. This could be something.
Sure. Yeah. And Lavina is mirroring all of your body language. Um it's any outsider looking in on this conversation, like it's very manipulative, I think, what Lavina is doing with all of the mirroring and trying to, whatever. And she kind of like leans on a hand over across the table at you and just says, why have you been thinking about love?
Yeah, well, it has been the thing really missing from this book, I mean, there's been romance, but it's all been quite predictable, and also, it is a adolescent story, the original one, so it's all very loosely defined. I feel like we could get a real mature romance story, and one that gives Lavina something to use. I want her climb to power to mean something.
Well, apparently you are the master of my fate, so get on writing then, I guess.
Can we share our cards?
Oh, we were supposed to draw a card. Okay, I'll draw a card.
Oh yeah, we draw. Sorry, I didn't say it. I guess at the beginning, but you just draw one and then we'll see.
Okay. Mine is wait. No, that's just the card I had. Hold on. I put the card I had on top. Hold on. Let me shuffle this.
I believe in you.
I got the Queen of Diamonds.
Queen of Diamonds. All right. It's different again. So we're going to go forward. No favor in either of our corner. We're going to just keep going. Look. I think you have to be who you're going to be. But we might as well give you some, control in how that goes, right?
Control sounds nice. A lot of things are out of my control right now.
Just wait. I got an idea.
Okay. And Lavina tucks the data pad under her arm and stands up from the table and I think looks around this coffee shop one more time, and I think it would be cool and interesting. Can this be a coffee shop that is also a bookstore?
Sure. 100%.
Yeah. Lavina wanders away and is just gonna go try to find these books that Althea has written on the shelves.
Yeah. You find them. They are well read. broken in for sure. There's, let's say, the entire 5-book series is here on the shelf in a set. They are tattered. There are people who have like tucked in the corners. There are folded
well-loved
pages.
dog-eared pages. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I think Lavina pulls out the first book, and the cover image has, I imagine, like the main characters of the story, some trio of young adults, maybe on the horizon of this new planet and what have you.
Yeah.
And Lavina just stares at it and kind of snorts to herself, like, this is so weird, like this is strange, because like that art on the cover, like that's Tesla Zero, like that's that place, like that's so just weird. And I think like there's just, she pulls out every book and just looks at all the covers, and as the books go on, I think maybe starting with that 5th book is the first one that she's on, and she stares at that like arrow in her heart, this person that looks kind of like her, but not quite like her. Definitely an older her. But I have a question for you, the author. Does Lavina die in the series, like by the end?
Yes.
Is she dead?
Yes.
Oh. Does she die in the book where the arrow is in her heart, or is she... Ooh. Is it a 5-book series then? Was that the last one?
Yeah, five books, yeah.
Interesting. Wow. from like a player perspective, that's kind of funny that like you have this like very anticipated last book of the series, and the cover image is your main villain dying.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny. That's kind of funny. And I think she just stares at it and is thinking in her mind, like, is this really my destiny? And then I think is jolted out of this scene, back in that mess hall with a buttload of work in front of her.
We move into our final act, our first scene, but our final act of the book. We'll draw a card. We will not share it with each other yet. In this unwritten ending, you appear back in the mess hall, and time rolls forward without word from home. You never get confirmation that your brother reached back home. The messages stop coming back in. The guards get cagey about this information. Your one remaining ally, Michael, is finally brought on board and is shuttled away and makes his apologies. And he says, "Don't worry. There's a new person coming." This new person who takes Michael's place, Rue, who shows up, is a stark but quiet person. Is given full control over the space station, has immediate command with those around him, and demonstrates that from day one. He comes with a clear vision. And that vision is made clear to be whoever he wants to get through will get through. That's the end. What is What is her reaction to his new presence on board?
Does he come across as like to Lavina? Does he come across as like smarmy or like gross kind of masculinity, or is he like more of a like stalwart, like strong leader type, or because you said he was like stark but quiet.
Stark but quiet. Yeah, not smarmy, not it's more like he has a mission. He has a purpose for being here. He wants to make sure that the people he wants to get through. And he wants his time here to end as quickly as possible. And he has a mission about it. That's it.
Because I think at this point Lavina is frustrated because now there's been two men, they both happen to be men, but two men who have promised her what she wants and ultimately were not able to deliver or hold up their end of the bargain. And I think when Rue comes in, he probably knows of Lavina because I think everyone else on this station by now definitely respects her, definitely looks to her as someone who is basically in charge, because at least when Michael was in charge, Lavina was doing all the speaking for him anyway.
Yeah.
Michael was this very awkward kind of guy, I think. So I think over the course of however long it was Michael in charge with Lavina working alongside him, basically being the voice between the two of them, being the face between the two of them. You know, and I think Lavina started thinking like, you know, what is being the face if you don't actually have the power, right? Like you're doing all the talking and you take the sort of social falls for him. But what is this getting me, right? When people get mad at his decisions, they're getting mad at her sort of in the crossfire because she's the one who has to deliver all of these messages and tell these people these things. And I think by the time Michael was leaving, Lavina knew that he wouldn't take her with him, even though like parts of her was still like maybe he'll hold up his end of the bargain, but kind of knew that he wouldn't because she was handling all his messages and knew that Tesla Zero was like, you can come. You don't get a +1 though, like you can come. And so when this new guy shows up, he probably hears about Lavina from all the other staff members, and I think he asks her for a meeting.
Yeah.
Because he's technically the new one here.
Yeah.
And I think Lavina was busy when he was first introduced to all the staff. Like, because I can see it being like, he's like, oh, hi, like, I'm going to be the new station admin. And, you know, goes around the table, meets all of the other people in charge, and all of them are like, oh, Lavina's not here. You should meet her because, like,
yeah,
she's the one who's been, like, keeping this ship running, basically.
He pulls you in for this meeting very early on, sits you down. It is still Michael's office. He has made no changes. He does not seem to be a person who wants to make a home here. And so everything is almost exactly as it was when Michael was living in this room. He sits you down, does not offer the pretense of a beverage, but just gets right to the point. Lavina, I'm first, can I say, very impressed with what you've done here. The people here respect you, the staff respect you, and although from what I've read, there were some conflicts of interest, you handled the departure well.
Thank you.
I admire that. I think we've all left something behind to get to to this opportunity. And that time has come, but I have an instinct about you. Just, and I don't mean to be impertinent, but I have read your file.
My file?
Yeah. Do you want to see it? It's a mile long.
Against the part of Lavina's brain that's like, maybe you shouldn't look at your file because there's a reason you don't look at your own file. Lavina nods and says, sure.
Yeah. There it is. It's scrolls for a while. There are, stories of how she's influenced the staff members to watch for is something that comes up a lot. However, always winds up falling in line, comes up more than once as well.
Like people put warnings in there about Lavina?
Yeah.
Ah.
Look, I wouldn't share this with you if I thought I couldn't. I don't want to be on this station any longer. I want to get to paradise. That's what we were promised. And that time is coming. That time is coming, and that means this station is closing down for good. There's no plan to bring new people back up, and I'm being honest with you. I don't think that's something I can change. But we can go.
Lavina's face is cold. Because this is here yet another man sitting in front of her telling her the same thing that she's been told again and again and again. And she says, with all due respect, why are you telling me this?
He clicks on the tablet, pulls up his own file, shows you that he had a partner who was not let aboard. I'm accepting what's happening here. I don't like it. But at least I'd be with somebody who gets it.
Lavina points in her own file where it mentions her family. And I think there's like a incident report written about the brother being sent back down.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was here. He was here with me. Now he isn't. Because Lavina definitely raised a stink about that after.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
the complaint reports are embedded in your file.
Yeah, she was mad that happened. Because Lavina had just gotten done had just finished telling the crowd anyone who doesn't actually live here is being sent home, which means the crowd, but she didn't see her brother in the crowd, and he lives here, so he should have been allowed to stay, but was not. And that was deeply frustrating. Like the bureaucracy of that moment was deeply frustrating for Lavina. So points to that in her file and just nods at him and says, I suppose we are similar.
I think so. Just, I'm not quite as good as it seems, but I do know one thing.
What's
I
that?
know I don't want to go home. And I know that here on this station, I will wither away. And that's no ending. For you, I mean, I don't mean to poke at this, but Joran is there. Is there no desire to get back to his side?
Lavina's eyes, I think, betray her tiredness because I think she's tired.
Mm-hmm.
She's been overworking herself this entire time, trying to impress the right people, and it's never quite worked out for her. In fact, her standing has arguably gotten worse since she started, um, because all of these people talk of respect. They talk of how much they love her, but when it really counts, no one is really there for her to pull for her in the ways that she would like to be, supported and just have people stand behind her. And she I think she just shrugs. She seems very apathetic in this moment, and says, Joran left me.
Well, fuck him then. Don't you want to see him again? Tell him how much of a prick he is to his face? There's a couple people over there I'd like to say that to.
Under different circumstances, perhaps. But, I mean, I'm not anyone important.
He, like, almost instinctively, like, reaches forward and puts a hand onto yours. That is not true. Your file is longer than half of the criminals and more than double of the executives that are, gorging themselves in paradise right now. Look, I just want to live, and I don't want to do it alone. You can come or you cannot come. It's okay. Whatever. But
Are you asking for my company, Rue?
I am asking for your company.
How does he look? Does he look like interested in Lavina as a friend? Is he looking at her like romantically? Like what?
He looks enamored in a way that could be read as either romantically swooning or just fascinated, impressed. Some combination of the two, maybe. This is a person he sees a little bit of home in off the bat.
I think Lavina draws back and kind of is just studying him, like making it very clear that she is picking him apart with her gaze. And after a very, very long pause, she says, "So you're asking me out?"
Out of the space station? Yeah. And maybe we could see where it goes from there, but yes.
Okay. I suppose I'll consider it. Rue.
Good. Lavina. Well. Oof. Arrangements to be made. Let's get off this hunk of ugly metal as quickly as possible. Anything
now?
Soon. We've got maybe 2 weeks out. Anything you want to do between then?
Lavina scoffs. There's nothing for me here.
We got time enough to send a few messages out. You want to say anything back home?
Something shifts in their gaze, and she looks away. She says, "They stopped responding."
He also stops when you say that. Tries to shake off the look that comes over him. I also noticed that. I probably a technical thing.
That's what people say when they don't want to say the truth.
This is one thing they haven't told me the truth on. So, maybe. Try not to think about it that way.
Lavina puts a hand over his, just like on top of his hand, and just says, "What about your partner? I don't feel comfortable being a replacement for someone."
You could never be a replacement. You're your own thing. You're remarkable all by yourself. And that wouldn't change either way.
Something clicks in Lavina's mind, and I think it's at this point she realizes, like, okay, this guy is a little strange. I think she reads his tone as genuine. I think he genuinely seems to be drawn to her and seems to be, enamored, as he has said. And also, I think he might have been looking at her chest a little bit during this conversation.
Yeah. He definitely failed.
Not out of like pervertedness, but I think Lavina's gaze is also incredibly piercing and incredibly like cold also.
Yeah. Just
he just couldn't maintain eye contact.
Absolutely.
And something clicks in her mind, and she's like, all right, maybe, unlike all of the other men, he seems to be looking up at me. And therein lies a different power balance than before. And so she removes her hand, but lets her fingertips like linger on his knuckles as she pulls back.
You see him catch a startled breath as she does.
And she smiles at him and says, all right. Dinner tonight, perhaps?
Yeah, we'll work it all out there.
Very well. See you tonight, Rue. And she will turn on her heel. She'll walk away.
The two of you go on to leave the station behind together, to arrive in this new terraformed paradise together, to eventually learn that Earth was cut off from communication to the station to prevent an overcrowding of messages and requests. Life there is very good for everybody, pretty much, except for everyone who didn't make it. And Jorn is there. And Michael is there. These people who are the reason that you will never see your family again are there. And the first signs of an inn start to present themselves as Rue, your enabler, always encourages you to dig deeper. The book ends leaving some to the imagination of the audience who already knows what happens in book 1, the signs of her rise to power, can fill in the blanks. But we're visiting the author again. Her this time sitting over the manuscript in its manila envelope with the address still on, ready to send to publisher. She sits with it quietly, not drinking anything, not doing anything, not writing, just sitting. How do you appear this final time to her?
I think so. We've made it. Lavina has made it to Tesla Zero.
Yes.
And has this man kind of wrapped around her finger.
Absolutely.
Rue would go on to become her husband in the main series.
Yes.
And I think in the main series is presented as this guy who will just do anything that she says and kind of, does some of the dirty work.
Absolutely.
For her.
Anything at all.
He is his personality trait is being in love with his wife.
Yes.
That's his personality trait.
Of course.
In the main series. I think once Lavina got up to Tesla Zero, she began finally using all of the information that she had sort of been gathering this whole time, like through talking to all these people. And I think she, like some blackmail, some, what have you, to try to just like get these people out of the way, or at least to get them to finally respect her.
Yes.
And so I think maybe there's I imagine like epilogue of the book is maybe like Lavina, getting word of whoever your protagonists are in the main series. Like I imagine like that would be a really fun epilogue scene in your book. But Lavina on her end of things is now has a new fancy big corner office and is about to see someone for a meeting, and she opens the door, and the door in where your author is sitting also opens, and Lavina now looks out into the waiting room expecting to see the person that she was waiting for, but instead sees you with your manuscript, and was kind of like very monotonous about it, was about to just say like, I'm available now, like why don't you come in, but stops herself seeing that it's you and kind of just stares at you.
You again.
You again.
Well, how do you like it? feel it's not as angry as I had thought we would make it, but I think this is better. It's just a quiet simmer to get her to where she is, to where you are. Yeah, I think that's good.
And she just gestures to you with a finger, which I think is it's the hand motion that Lavina just does. You've described it a million times, and you are now seeing your character standing in front of you closer to the person that she will become than she has been. And she gestures to you with one finger and says, "Why don't you come inside?"
Yeah, and Althea comes and joins you inside your office.
And you are now in this very like sci-fi-esque place. Gone is the earth that you know. Gone is the wood, the carpets, replaced with unforgiving metal, steel, glass, chrome. And Lavina goes to sit behind their very futuristic desk. It's very large and floats above the floor, and there's two very comfortable chairs in front of it. She gestures to it and says, "I was wondering when I'd see you again."
Yeah, well, I see you every time I close my eyes, but you usually don't invite me in. So that's neat. Truthfully, I'm just glad the story is over. I think it went well. I don't know. I think you seem likable. I mean, I don't love, that I'm on a space station right now, apparently, but I like you as a character. I think you're very likable.
Not a station. We are on Tessellate Zero.
Oh. That's not, this is nice. I didn't love how the movies made it. I didn't really have a say in that, though.
It's unfortunate.
You win some, you lose some. So, you made it. Aren't you happy that you got to Tessellate Zero? You're safe?
I'm safe. My family, not so much.
Yeah. That's kind of the point, though. Something's got to drive you.
What happens to them?
Oh, good question. Well, mom dies, and Jax tries to convince a couple of your other brothers to try to hijack a shuttle. They try to come and circumvent the station because it's been shut down. But, that gets them into big legal troubles, which, you're not necessarily able to fix, but your position on the planet, you're able to use your skills and manipulate some things and manipulate some people, pull some strings, get them out of trouble. And that's, one of your first big moves that you make. It's pretty cool. I mean, then of course you realize that you can basically do whatever you want, as long as you smile at the right people and use your intimidating allure at the right folks. And, eventually you realize that you can get close to Joran if you want. You can take him down.
Do I get to kill him?
Yes, you do. Yes, and it's brutal. It's ruthless.
She smiles at that. And looks away from you for the first time in this conversation to look out these windows. I imagine her office is in this beautiful high rise in this beautiful futuristic city. All the greenery outside of this new planet. And she gazes out at the view for a moment and turns back to you and says, that's... And I think it's finally like dawning on her all of those conversations from like months, maybe years ago at this point. And the destiny sort of is coming back into full circle, because she's sitting here realized she just felt happy hearing that she would kill someone, because I think up till this point,
Yeah,
Lavina has not killed anyone.
No, not at all.
And hearing from this person who Lavina, I think, thinks to be someone who knows the future. I don't know if she buys the fact that you're the one writing these stories, but she trusts that you do know things, because a lot of the other things that you've predicted have ended up happening.
Right.
Well, because you write them.
Right.
And Lavina's sitting here realizing she just felt a little bit of happiness at hearing that she would kill someone, and then the sly look in her eyes fades as she looks back at you and says, "Is this what you meant? Is this evil?"
Oh. Well, then you're not evil yet. You're not.
You keep saying that.
You're still cooking. Really? I mean, right now we've just planted the seeds. And frankly, I'm a little disappointed. I think I may need to write another book, but maybe that's good. We keep the series going. Maybe your prequel is actually a trilogy, and we get to watch you rise slowly into your power. Maybe that's what we have to do. Just more of you becoming ruthless, the ruthless that we all know you will be.
Lavina's face neutralizes, and she looks at you with perhaps a genuine curiosity. She says, "In your first series, or whatever, what do I even do? I know I die.
I mean,
why do I deserve that?
Not till the very end. Well, so at first, you just take out those who've wronged you. But as that goes on, more people continue to wrong you. And the pattern grows. You start with Joran. You make your way to Michael. But in the course of the time that it takes to get them taken care of, other people betray you. You know, you try to get your brothers out of trouble, and you eventually do, but there are some people who find that nepotism distasteful, and those people try to stop you. And they obviously have to go. And the pattern just grows and grows, and then once you are in power, you can do anything. And you get to decide who stays and who goes, who gets in, who gets ejected.
Who are your protagonists anyway? Who are they? Why do they kill me? From what you've told me, everything that I do seems justified. Your fans, the people who read your books. I mean, I saw those posts. A lot of them don't like me. Why do they not see what I do as justified?
Because you kill people who don't have... Eventually, you kill people who don't have any malice. They've just made a mistake. They've just wronged you. You make decisions based on old grudges. People get kept out who have vague old alliances with Michael and Joran and the guards that kept your messages from your brothers. The line of people that you're willing to harm gets longer and longer because you see them all connected to one another.
Are they not?
I mean, they are. Those people didn't do it. And that's what crosses the line.
She looks away, looks down at her hands, and then looks back up at you. Are you satisfied
Well,
with that? And gestures to your manuscript.
Well, truth be told, I wanted to make you a little worse. But I think this is better. I think this was better. I think we should share our cards with each other before we continue this conversation.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
It's a Queen of Clubs.
Wild. I also picked a queen. Not clubs. Diamonds?
That means you get a +1 favor.
I get a thing?
Yes. Which means at this point in the game that you have more favor than I do. Which means that the author is going to accept and understand in this conversation that the characters in her story exist and have agency outside of her penmanship.
Okay.
When you ask her, are you satisfied, is I think when that clicks for her. You are asking a question that no one would ask. That no dream of hers would ever ask. Is that, are you satisfied with this story that you wrote and how it came out? And she gave you an honest answer. No, I went into this thinking I would make you more of a monster right away. That we would see you snap and become evil in a blaze of vengeance or glory. But seeing the seeds, seeing you have room to grow, and knowing that you feel justified in the evil that you're going to do, I think that that is better. I think that that is a better story, and I think that that's what you've given me.
She's shaking her head, just kind of like almost in disbelief hearing you say that, because, and I think she's asked you this before again and again, like you keep saying all these things that she's going to do are evil. And I think it is settling in for Lavina that nothing you've described seems like super out of pocket, besides like the killing thing, of course. Like Lavina still has not killed anyone.
Besides
like,
that,
besides the fact I'm disappearing people, but like I think it's settling in for her that she does see that as justified. That you know, and in her mind she's thinking, oh, maybe I just agree to disagree, question mark.
Yeah.
And she shifts in her chair and just looks around this beautiful, pristine corporate office space and just looks across the desk at you and says, so what now?
Well, now I write another book. We're
About
gonna,
me?
of course, about you. You're my new lifeline. This world that I've made, it's everything to me. I can't let it go, and I think, and I hope that we get to talk more, because I want to know what you think as we write the rest of this together.
Together?
Yeah. Will you come find me?
At that sort of offer and invitation, she hesitates and then looks back at you, and I think her face more closely resembles the coldness that you have written her to be. And her gaze sets and her lips press together, and Lavina says, perhaps if I have time, apparently. I'm about to be very, very busy.
And I think there's never been a line more appropriate to end a story on. Unfucking believable. That is so incredible. That is my favorite. You are the first person to play this game with me to make me as the author feel like the protagonist really did convince me, like that like me, Dylan, I'm convinced. Absolutely.
Look at the dark side.
Oh my god. This is also the first.
You couldn't hate me.
Also, first villain protagonist. I'm in love. I love it so much. Thank you, Transplanar RPG, for the raid. I cannot freaking believe it, you wonderful doves. I adore you so much. We have been playing my most recent game, How Does That Work? You're a Bicycle. It's up on itch right now. Thank you to everyone who rated and came and watched. I'm Dylan. This is my channel. I'm happy to have you here. Please, Jay, though, all the flowers for Nala. Can you tell everybody how amazing you are? Talk about anything you have to promote, anything you want to talk about whatsoever.
Okay. Well, y'all should play this game. This game is super cool. You should catch this VOD. It is a game that uses cards. I got to use these really cool playing cards that I have, and we told this really cool story. So y'all should go watch the whole thing. You can watch this wonderful villain lady that I'm playing become colder and colder and colder.
Oh, your escalation of the coldness was so well paced. I'm so blown away. That was so cool. That was so good.
I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm being too subtle, because I wanted it to be subtle, but I was like, I need there to be a shift from beginning to end, and
Yeah. I liked your choice. I think I liked a lot your choice to make a lot of her shifts happen during the conversations with the author. Like, that's a choice that I haven't seen anybody make in this game yet. Like, to be like, oh, the talking to the author like makes the person like change their mind. That's cool. I like that a lot.
It was just fun. Like this game is really cool narratively to just think about, like, what would a person who is a character in a book actually think about meeting the person who's writing them into existence. Like, that's really interesting, and that's really cool. But anyways, all of this to say, I love this game. This was so much fun. I want to play again. I want to explore this character more.
I know. I do too a little bit.
She's interesting.
She's really interesting.
And so, yeah, go check out this game. Dylan's not gonna talk about how cool his game is. I will. This was fun. My ear cuff is like coming off. But anyway, hi, I'm Nala,
yes,
or
you.
Jay. Yes, me. And I am on Twitter at nalawu and at naladraws if you want to see my artwork. I am a full-time art director and illustrator doing freelance and TTRPGs. I helped design this overlay. I also did my character art that's over here, which actually I was experimenting with a new art style. So this is the first piece I've done.
I was gonna say, like, please forgive me, but what I'm gonna call is the line scratches are different than your usual line scratches.
Yes, it is. Yes, the line sketches look different.
Line art is what probably is the word I'm looking for, but it's different. Yeah, and I like it a lot.
I used a technique that was popularized by another artist whose name I cannot remember, but I didn't include lines on, like, the outside contours of the face or the shoulder. It's hard to see. Because we put the art against a dark background, but I'll probably post the work on my art account.
Oh my god, please,
so you'll be able to see it. But I made that choice in the line art to have it just disappear. And I'm my art history professor would be so mad at me. I knew this, and I don't remember the artist or what the technique is called. But anyways, it inspired this piece. Anyways, I do art direction and illustration. You can hire me to work on your projects. I would love to consult with you or what have you. I'm also starting to get into overlay design, so I would love to do some stuff like that. If you liked my performance here, I'm also a voice actor, sensitivity consultant, and TTRPG actual play stream performer. You can see me on Mondays. The next 2 Mondays in this month, I am on a 4-episode miniseries over on Queen's Court Games called The Mysteries of Ravenswood. It is a all-trans cast playing kids on brooms, and we are intertwined in this spooky mystery. Our friend has gone missing, and we are trying to figure out what happened to her. And my character is basically the embodiment of academic burnout and and represents depression, and also just someone who was supposed to be the golden child, was the chosen one, and then an accident happened and they no longer have that sort of destiny. And it's sort of the literal lightness versus darkness metaphor in the character and their story is sort of representative of these burnout and depression and like mental health and like that sort of thing. And my fellow cast are incredible. That game is super cool. So anyways, that's Mondays on Queen Court Games at 7 p.m. Eastern. On Tuesdays, I am on Itaewon by Night. That is a Vampire the Masquerade stream. We are the first and only all-Asian cast playing VTM on stream.
So good.
I play a boss bitch named Freudian Song.
You sure as fuck do. You sure as fuck do.
If you like this energy, you'll love Meridian.
I was gonna say it's a little bit similar. So.
Just a little bit.
Tiny bit.
Isn't as cold as
no, not as cold, but definitely as badass.
Lavina's so apathetic. At least by the end. But that's Tuesday nights on Bad House RPG, and that's at 8 p.m. Our first season VODs are available on YouTube, so if you want to catch up, you can watch all of season 1 is there. So we are currently in our second season. What else am I doing? Let me look. I am in a production of Midsummer Night's Dream.
Oh, you're in that.
Yes.
Oh, awesome.
That is going to be, I believe, June 21st, if I'm looking at my calendar correctly. We will be doing a read-through, and I am playing, it's a small cast, so I have like 4 parts, but I'll be playing Puck, and I'll also be playing Lysander and Snout and one of the fairies, I think. Cobweb. I don't remember which one, actually. I was assigned, but it's a small cast, so we all are like quadrupling up on parts. But you should come watch that. It's an all POC cast reading, super queer, of Midsummer. Great show, very funny. So that's coming up, and that's basically it. I'm trying to think. I'm also in Hamlet. I don't know when that's actually going to be released though.
Okay.
But I'm in a production of Hamlet as well.
Wow, cool.
It's the summer of Shakespeare for me.
Hell yeah, I love that.
Super excited. But yeah, if you want to keep up with all the random shit that I do, Twitter is the best place. I also do TikTok and all those other new social medias that keep popping up that people are like, do we go here? Do we not? Does Twitter suck enough for us to finally commit to where people are going? Because I don't know, but I'm on all those places at naladraws.
Same.
And yeah, that's me. I had so much fun playing this lovely. I think she's justified.
I was gonna say, I'm like, you think she's right, don't you?
Yeah, she, and I think the fans would think she's right too. This book comes out, and the fans, I think there's a war in the fandom, but I think
so too.
There's a hashtag Lavina was right.
Lavina did nothing wrong. Hashtag Lavina did nothing wrong.com. I think that's what's going to happen. I think that's going to cause more problems for our author, that she was supposed to really justify this villain, and she instead maybe yassified her. And
yassified her.
Everybody.
How could you say no to this? This is the ear cuff I'm wearing. It's kind of hard to see.
Can you believe it?
This is what I was wearing, and like, how could you say no to this? This is badass.
I know, and it's in the art too, and it's very good. So yeah, please check out Nalawu everywhere, and please check out Naladraws, and go and click on their link tree, which is in the chat, and look up all of the things that they do, because they are just a delightful force of energy. I have been Dylan. We are going to send a raid over to my friend Amorous Sky, who is playing Cook Serve Forever, and it is an absolute delight. And I will see you here whenever I feel like it. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you for coming.